Good morning, everybody. It is 8:16 a.m., May 26th. Everybody had a good Memorial Day weekend. It was friggin' rainy here in Jersey, so ugly. However, we are back into the markets, and we are not shy of news, of course. Okay. So on Sunday night, all before the weekend on Sunday, there was like talks of peace deal, right? Then we opened up with a gap on Sunday evening. Then there were strikes from us and from, I believe, Israel and Lebanon, and then us on Iran putting mines down in the Strait of Hormuz. That took back some of the froth of that move. Okay, but basically, crude's at $92.56 a barrel, and the rest of the market really is up. Okay, who knows when this deal will really get done, but so far the market likes it. Okay, pretty crazy. As for me on Friday, I had a nice long. That worked out pretty nice to our return. That was my only trade. And brings us to this week, shortened week. Okay. We have some decent, not market moving earnings, but a couple of, I believe, pretty important ones. What do we have here to show you real quick what I'm looking at? We have Snowflake, Salesforce, so software. Marvell, that's a semi. Okay. Best Buy. Who else we got here? Sentinel One, that's a cybersecurity. Costco, staple. Dell, obviously, President Trump told you to go get a Dell. They've been on a monster run as well. So let's see what they do. Also, HP. Okay. Alrighty. Let's get into it. Welcome to my channel. My name is Steve Gonzalez. I use market profile and buy profile to find structure in the markets along supply and demand, gamma exposure level, the most traded price of the year, the month, the week, and the previous day. That is my edge. Okay. That's how I come up with game plans. Now, once that market opens up, I use my market internals. Like I said earlier, the gamma exposure level, specifically the gamma flip points, delineates positive gamma from negative gamma. I give that away for free, these levels on the SPY, the SPX, and the QQQ in my Discord, the weekly and the monthly flip points. Okay. Also, my weekly expected move indicator I give away for free for Thinkorswim on my Discord as well. 70% of the time, the market closes within those ranges. Okay. Little Anchor VWAPs thrown in there. A little ICT Smart Money, a little bit in there as well, but it's basically my own proprietary system. All right. Now, every day, I do a live stream here on YouTube. Please subscribe, set that alert. I give you the market story, the market news, the economic calendar, the technical analysis, and I always give you the long and short trade scenarios in the ES and the NASDAQ futures later on in the stream. Now, if you want more in-depth coverage, you're going to join my Discord. That's Confluence Trading. Go to my YouTube homepage, click on the link, and sign up. What are you waiting for? Let me be your indicator. All right? Ready? Why don't we get right into the futures watch list here? And who's leading the pack? Ethereum is leading the pack, up 2.45%. Bitcoin up 1.61. Russell up 1.13. Nasdaq just moved on me, up 1.08. 30-year bonds are being bought. Should send yields lower. The VIX, interestingly enough, is up 0.78. ES is up 0.68. Dow's up 0.52. Silver is kind of flat. Dollar is flat, basically. Gold down 0.28. 10-year yield is down 1.55%, down to a 4.5 yield. Crude down 4.27% at $92 a barrel and 43 cents. Okay. Mag 7. Mag 7 list, obviously plus, right? AMD's up 3.12. Nvidia's up 1.25. Caterpillar up 1.15. Coinbase up 1.14. Tesla up 0.98. Eli Lilly up 0.75 now. GE 0.83. All right, now, is there any laggards? Netflix down 0.25. Top sector stocks here. We got Micron. Micron's up 7.46%. It's just a monster. Okay. Qualcomm is a monster as well, up 2.83%. I actually trimmed a little of my position on Friday of Qualcomm. NEM up 2.19. GE Vernova up 1.13. Okay, Goldman Sachs up 0.93. And there's a little bit of laggards here. We got Visa down almost a 0.5%. Johnson & Johnson down over a 0.5%. Now, these are kind of safety plays. Specifically Johnson & Johnson. Chevron and Exxon are down. Not a shocker there. Energy down 1.06 and 1.34%. All right, let's look at some granular list here. Oklo, that's nuclear energy. Okay, up 11.4%. Micron, well, we talked about Micron. Marvell, remember they report earnings this week as a semi, up 7.28. ASTS, space stocks getting some love here this week with the SpaceX IPO on the horizon. Rocket Labs up 5.3, Enphase Solar Energy up 5%, SoFi up 4.74, Iris Energy up 4.5, Vertiv up 4.44, Dell up 4.18. All right, now is there laggards today? Is there laggards today? Roblox continues to fall, down 2.16, and that's really there's really nothing to talk about. Okay, let's move on. Two sectors. And the semis continue to get bought. Up 2.25%. Technology up 1.59. Okay. Industrials up 0.63. Basic materials up a 0.5%. Discretionary up 0.43. Utilities up 0.42. You can see the rest here. And then the laggard is energy. No shocker there. Energy does not move markets, so it really doesn't matter what energy does as far as it affects the S&P 500. All right, let's go over to the economic calendar now. And what do we have this week? Well, today we have Chicago Fed at 8:30, S&P Case Shiller home price 9 a.m. 10 a.m. we have consumer confidence. Okay. Wednesday we have the 30-year mortgage, Fed Logan, Fed Cook, API crude, Fed Jefferson. Thursday we have core PCE, personal income and spending, some GDP numbers, new home sales. Friday, we have Chicago PMI, more Fed speak. Okay. That is the calendar for the week. Let's look at Trump's schedule today. Let's see. There's nothing really that I'm seeing here. Let's look at the juice here. Now, there was a lot of stuff going on, right? Like Iran's supreme leader, Khamenei. U.S. will no longer have safe haven for Middle East bases. Okay. So there's still tension. All right. There's still tension. Let's look at some stock news here. Just trying to see if there's Micron stock surges as UPS sees more than 100% upside. Jeez, Louise. Let's see what else is going on here. All right, let's go to some news here. We'll finish up with some news. All right. Exclusive Wall Street banks push Fed to future-proof supervision overhaul. Okay. Nvidia says its forecast for 200 billion CPU market includes China. Exclusive Pentagon spars with SpaceX over Starlink price during war. OpenAI's Altman says AI unlikely to lead to jobs apocalypse. EU plans to fine Google high triple-digit million euro sum. Okay, interesting. Let's just look at the before the bell. U.S. stock index futures rose as investors remained optimistic about Middle East peace negotiations despite recent strikes. While AI-driven gains in chip stocks boosted sentiment, U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio said that negotiating the deal with Iran could take a few days. Well, President Trump said in Truth Social post on Monday that talks with Iran were going nicely. Alrighty. Let's see if there's any news here that I don't know about or that it's important. No. Now, I wasn't going to look at this. Let's just look at it. I know the markets are gapping up. But on Friday, how did the breath leave us? How did the breath leave us? Let's just see. All right. Breath improved 48% over the 20. Days moving average. Let's go to the 50. Well, this is the nicey. Hold on a second here. I want the S&P 500. 58%. The breath improved. Let's see the 20 because now that I have the right, I don't have the nice 59. Okay. The breath's improving, folks. Okay, so let's look at the bullish percent index of the S&P. Okay, that's improving as well. We're at 51% on buy signals, so we're middling, but it improved. Now the Nasdaq, remember this is 100 stocks, 58%, also improved, very middling. Okay, let's go to specifically the tech sector. That improved as well, 66 on buy signals. Now I'm assuming that's even higher will be after today. And let's just go look at financials. That didn't really move. Let's go with communications. That improved to 56%. Let's go to discretionary. Remember, that's been getting hammered. That improved a good amount. That should probably even improve more. I talked about buying something. I didn't get a chance to do that in discretionary because that was really oversold. Okay? Really, really oversold. All right. I think the only one that I was looking at that was pretty overbought was energy. Believe it or not, look at that, 85%. That's going to change today. All right, that's your breath. Now let's go to the internals recap of Friday. Alrighty. So it wasn't exactly the strongest day. Okay, but out of the top four, our top five sectors, the only laggard was communications, and that was Google. Okay, nothing was like crazy strong. Healthcare, energy, just the overall market was pretty much up. Okay, so that's why you sold off. You just didn't have a ton of strength there. All right, I got long right after this dip into the previous days. What was that? Previous days highs. I got long. If it was in futures, it was probably around right here. And then I rode that up for a nice 2-to-1 risk to reward. So that worked out pretty nicely. We kind of ranged a little bit before moving up. Okay. So internally, wasn't super strong, but when you have all those sectors up, you're pretty much going to move up until like later in the day, right? Alrighty. Now we can move on to daily charts. Let's move on to dailies. Boom. Alrighty. So, what did we do? Actually closed negative on the day, right? And we almost reached all-time highs. Okay. Now, where are we now? 751. We are at all-time highs, folks, in the overnights. So once we open up, we will officially be at all-time highs. What do you say? There's no resistance above us now. Okay. Interesting. Right? So you really can't, there's not much to make of this. You took out that um, daily supply zone now. Let's look at the futures. And you'll see it on my chart. Look, we took it out. Look at that problems it gave the market last Friday, right? I said this wouldn't be easy. And then it took the um, opening Sunday night to basically, um, now this might be, no, okay. So, interesting, right? So I can get rid of that now. That has been taken out, okay? And so you can see we have a little wick here, right? Right there, okay? We're kind of hanging out above last week's highs. Do we make new ranges? We'll have to see. Okay, let's look at the Qs now. Okay, the Qs did make all-time highs. I just realized that last Friday. Look at that. Just took out the previous week's highs. Okay, where is it now, though? Jeez Louise. It is $9 higher. All right, at 726. It's all the way up out of this chart. That is insane. Big gap up. Semis just continue to push the market. It's crazy. Okay, let's look at futures. Now there's that daily supply. It has been taken out, so we remove it. You can see. Look, we're almost hitting 30,000. Almost hit 30,000. Crazy. That's psychological number, 30,000. Pretty amazing. Okay. It just makes me speechless pretty much. I don't think anybody thought that we would just be driving with Middle East war. I know there's peace talks now, but it's just insane. Okay. It is really insane. I know people are calling that it's too frothy. It's over. I mean, the market's doing what it's doing. Okay. Now, we're going to get into some hourly charts now. So, some hourlies here. So this channel that I put up on Friday, why is that not? That's interesting. Give me one sec. I gotta reset this marker stuff. I thought that would work. Let me choose one more time here. Alrighty. So this channel that was resistance multiple times. Look what happened on Friday. Resistance, resistance. Okay. Now I'm going to get rid of that. I just wanted to show you guys. That was resistance so many times. Finally broke. Right. But now we're back inside the channel. But I'm going to get rid of that for now. Okay. I'm just going to leave this uptrend line. Just as an extra added confluence, basically. Okay. So we have, they call this a new week opening gap right there. That was the Sunday night open. And we just went boom all the way up, and then we consolidate it. And then we had a lot of poor structure here, right? And what did we do? Took it all back. clean that up. Okay. And now we have this major supply in futures up here. So you have a base up here, and then you have a base down here. Could get ugly on a Monday because this is not going to be easy to push through, and this is probably not going to be easy to push through. All right, so right off the bat, that's what I'm seeing. And we also, this is another gap, right? Right here, because this is from Friday, and we haven't had, even though this real-time trading hour session happened right there as a little garbage session, okay, yesterday, there was a little session in the futures, okay? So this is where we're at. So the playground's from 75.24 to about 75.70 in the ES, from right here to here. Do we just do this today? Possible. Possible. All right, because I just don't think we know when we're going to get a deal, when that's going to happen. Okay. Do we come down and fill this gap? I don't know. We usually do fill those. I guess we just have to see. It's probably more headline risk. Okay. So we do have overhead supply in the market. We do. Okay. Pretty major one too. That's a pretty major one. All right. So let's see what happens there. Now moving on to the Nasdaq. Okay. Nasdaq with the semis. Our trend line's intact. Right. We do have that new week opening gap right here. And then there's that structure. Took it almost all back. Right. And now you have a major supply. It's the same kind of deal here. Okay. So that level we're going to oscillate between possibly is 29746 to the 30,000. Now the 30,000, we haven't got there yet, but boy, is that some equal highs there. I would say there's a good shot we nick these highs. That's just a lot of equal lows. That's generally going to be a draw on liquidity, and the market should gravitate towards that level eventually. That's a pretty good target. How we get there, I don't know. Okay, that's a very, very equal high. You can call that a poor high. Okay, but make no mistake, we are trending, right? So let me just see if there is a channel to be had here. Is there some resistance level that's being played with here? I just like to connect a lot of points. If they don't all connect, that's only that. See, that doesn't do much for me here. Let's see if I connect this one. That works. That works because now you got resistance, 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 resistance. Okay, so I'm gonna keep that one on there. Like I said, it's just an added confluence. It doesn't mean I trade off it every second, but yeah, I like the more confluence, the better for myself. All right, they're all just data points. Data points. Love you. If you do, just a purple with no fleece.
Do I have to?
No. All right. So that's the hourlies. Pretty basic. Okay. Now we're gonna go over to the market profile and the volume profile. My preferred way to look at the market. Now I'm gonna show you specifically what I did when you have these little garbage sessions. And so this is your market profile, volume profile. You're gonna see what I did here. Okay, so since we have multiple overnight sessions with a garbage real-time trading hour session, see, I'm going to remove the merges here, but I like to merge them as one session. So, okay, this is the overnight. So this is Friday, right? And would be from 4:15 Friday all the way to now. So I just like to merge them to one session. Okay? So that's what my profile looks like for the overnights. Okay, kind of a double distribution. All right. So this is your ES. Let's get into it. Scenarios, long and short trade scenarios. All right. And we're going to break out the session. Okay. That's all that price action. Basically see the same. This is only 30-minute bars. Okay. So we're basically going to see the same thing we just saw. Okay. So, like I said, we have a gap here. Two gaps. All right. So I think this is pretty basic. What we're gonna do talk about here, these scenarios. Okay. Let's get into it. So I'm gonna start with the long. Okay. Now, first thing you notice, that's last week's highs, 74.24 is pretty much. It's not the overnight lows down here, but that's pretty much where the market came and got bought. Okay. So right here, what I would like to see happen. Okay, if you get a little pullback, you might even push up into this. There's a little bearish for a value gap here. You might even hit supply and get some selling. Okay, if okay, you come back in here, you fill this gap. Okay, and you tiptoe into Friday's range, and then get bought up. Retest the 75.24s. That's a long, targeting overnight highs, which is the all-time highs now at 75.69s. And then see if you just go off to Never Never Land there today. Okay? That's a pretty good long. Now, if the market just opens and rips up through the all-time highs and then establishes acceptance here, you wait for a pullback to go long. Okay, and you could trend the rest of the day. Okay. Now your midpoint of Friday is 75.01, and you have a 75.07 most traded price left from last Friday. I would say that's the last. This would need to happen very quickly. I would need to rip down to the overnight lows, tap the 75.07s, and it's also in the middle of the gap. Okay, that new week opening gap. If you get support here, that's also a long, and you target the 75.69s. Okay, that's kind of what I'm interested in there. Now, shorts. You do have pretty heavy duty supply up here. Okay, so what I think is a good shot is, let's change that color, is if we come right into the supply and get rejected, boop, put a lower high in, you target the 75.24s. That is last week's highs. Okay, then you have to see if you can make progress and acceptance back into Friday's range. Okay, 75.07, the most traded price of last Friday. And then you have a major demand here. Okay, you might fill the new week opening gap, which would be at 74.94. That could be it because you go into rate major demand here. Okay, now another alternative would be come up, boom, make all-time highs in the regular trading hours, come back into the overnight range, put a lower high in, hopefully tech got some outflows, and then you can short and target 74.24. Okay, 75.17s, and then that new week opening gap down to that 74.94. Okay, just have to see where money flows are going into today. Let's go to the Nasdaq now. It's Monday. Remember, Mondays. I mean, sorry, it's Tuesday, but it's like a Monday. It's the first trading day of the week. Now, same thing. I merged the sessions in the Nasdaq. Okay, and remember, the Nasdaq. Where the hell's price at? Am I going nuts? Oh, its price is right there. All right, that ball is right there. All right. Now, look at that profile. Boy, that right at that 2995s, almost 30K. There is a ton of volume there. All right, so let's get into the Nasdaq long and short trade scenarios. Okay, first thing we're going to do, we're going to open this session up. Okay, and you're going to see that equal high that I talked about, that I said that is going to get hit. It is not it is not will it? It will. You have an all-time high now in the overnights that's generally not secure. Okay, so pretty obvious what I'd be targeting here. It's not a shocker. Okay, it's not a shocker. Now the 50% retracement till Friday is 29619s. And I think the market wants the 30,000, the 30K. Okay, let's get right into it. We're going to start with longs. Okay, so we could get some trouble. This is pretty decent supply here. So what would be a nice trade, right? Let's say the market really quickly sells off, takes out this support, which also happens to be last week's highs, 29747. Okay. All right. And a number of ways this could happen. It could get bought right up, right? Because that's filling the gap. And then you get a higher low, I'm sorry. You target that 2995, and I would think the 30K, and see if you can trend up higher. Okay. One more. If you pull back again, fill that gap, and then go to the most traded price of Friday, which is 29675s. Okay. And there's the new week opening gap there. You dip in there, retest the 29675s. You go long, targeting overnight highs 29995s and the 30K, and see if you can trend up higher. Okay, there is a major demand here. Okay, this is kind of what I'd be interested in. All right. Now, as far as a short, you could get something off the open in this supply. It's a pretty big supply zone. Just the inverse kind of what I started with the long. Now, you could come right up in here, right? Right there. Fail. That's actually yesterday's close, which is that garbage session. Okay. Okay. You reject into this supply. Now that supply zone spans, let me just put that on there, from 29908 to 29994s. Okay. So come into that supply, which we're in now, reject, you put in a lower high. You're going to short that, and you're going to target the gap fill at 29747s. Now, if you hit that and you keep going, you're going to go to the overnight lows, which happens to be the 29675 area, which is the most traded price of Friday. If you probably take that out, you're going to hit the new week opening gap, which is at 29580s. Now, that puts you in a big demand zone. Probably all you get unless there's an all-out sell-off. Okay. The second one is we rip up to 30K, the psychological number, come back into the overnights, put a lower high in. That's your short, and then target the same targets that I just mentioned. Okay. That's really all I'm interested in today. Now, I'm going to give you my market outlook today. So, let's talk about the ES. Or let's just talk about market news in general. Okay. We have a new week opening gap from Sunday night. Okay. That has been put in because of all the peace positive news that we had going into Sunday night. Then there's been some strikes, took back some of that, right? And we're trading in two different ranges. Okay. So somebody's gonna, lose. All right. Now, basically, today we're gonna look at this. It's Tuesday, the first trading day of the week. We could just lollygag around. Okay. Obviously, momentum's to the upside, but we have a lot of headline risk in our current markets that any minute somebody could say something that moves the market, right? I think the market just wants higher until this show is over one day. We won't know when that show will be over. Nobody knows the timing of it. Okay, so I'm gonna lean to the long side today. Okay, like I said, there's two distinct ranges that we're at in the overnight session. It's basically a double distribution profile in the overnights in both markets, the Nasdaq and the ES. Okay, so let's just see. There's going to be some manipulation. Don't know where it's going to come from. Okay, we have our scenarios there. So, like I said, it's the beginning of the week. A lot of news. Remember, we have that 10 a.m. news as well. So let's just be patient. All right. As far as the Nasdaq goes, money flows are going into semis and technology today. This morning, that's the main driver. And when that's the main driver, the markets are going to go higher unless off the open people take profits in semis, in memory. Okay, but we don't know because nobody knows that until the market opens. Now, in the Nasdaq in particular, you have that big poor high or equal high, whatever you want to call it. It's basically poor structure. It's a draw on liquidity, whatever you want to call it. 30K is right in the sights. I'd be pretty shocked if we don't hit that. Okay, so I think that is going to gravitate our markets to that 30K level. And now either the market goes 30K, psychological, great, we hit it, and maybe the market sells off from there, or it's 30K, great, now we want 31. I don't know. Okay, I don't know. All I know is I'm going to have to lean long right now, pre-market, unless the market shows us otherwise, or unless there's some news that the deal is off or something. Okay, so just remember this morning, crude is down and yields are down. Two of the things that have been weighing on the market a little bit. All right, I think that gives you a clear pathway higher. Also remember, overnight highs that are all-time highs, generally not secure. World time, regular cham trading hours usually makes the all-time highs. Okay, remember that as well. All right, so that's it for me, folks. Smash that like button if you enjoyed that analysis and help out my channel. All right, now, as always, I hope you join me every morning. Subscribe, set that alert. I give you the market news, the economic calendar, the leaders and the laggards, technical analysis, and I always leave you at the end of the stream with scenarios in the ES and the Nasdaq futures. Okay? Now, if you want more in-depth coverage, you're going to join my Discord. That's Confluence Trading. Go to my YouTube homepage, click on the link, and sign up. What are you waiting for? Let me be your indicator. Okay? We have our plan. Got my process down. Okay? Process is down. All right? Now, hopefully you have a process as well. Remember, it's Tuesday, first day of the week, trading day of this week. Okay? Remember, no trade is a trade. And you just sit back and let your setups come to you. Okay? Now, I should be going live today around 9:45 a.m. in my Discord. Come join me. Come ask questions. Okay? And if I don't see you there, I hope to see you tomorrow morning. All right? Everybody have a great day.